Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today I'm looking at some Dynasty buys. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. So, first up, Drake Maye. And I think Drake Maye has entered the elite class of quarterback in Dynasty Superflex. He showed me everything I wanted to see thus far, but I don't think he's quite valued where he should be. This is a buy high, in my opinion. Usually not what we talk about. It's typically buy low or kind of buy in the middle. But Drake Maye to me has been great. And we can see that, right? If we look at his statistics, 73.9% completion. That's really good. We love to see that type of mark. 7 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Solid. 8.2 yards per attempt. Now, that is what we really want to see. We want to see, anything over 8 is excellent. 252.2 passing yards a game. So we're seeing efficiency and accuracy and decent volume. Sometimes the criticism is you see efficiency and accuracy, but you don't see volume. But we do see it with Drake Maye, so that's good. And we have still some rushing, 27 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So we are getting some rushing totals. Now, Maye's averaging 19.1 fantasy points a game, 10th among quarterbacks. Now, that's a really good mark. But like I said, he's playing better than that. And this is something I've talked about a lot in the Patreon. Sometimes the biggest thing that people do wrong in Dynasty is overrating fantasy points. The best predictor of future fantasy points is not always past fantasy points, because fantasy points are largely driven by touchdowns, which are mostly random, whereas the best predictors are some of the rate stats like yards per attempt, completion percentage, accuracy, stuff like that for quarterback. And Drake Maye is excelling in all categories. And another thing that is sticky is rushing, which he is doing. And we like to see that. Not the touchdowns. I'm talking about the yards. Now, why do I have Drake Maye as a dynasty buy? I've talked about this a lot in the Patreon. He has been great. He was good last year, but the receiving weapons leave a lot to be desired. It's great to see that Stephon Diggs is coming around. Hunter Henry is consistent. But imagine what the offense would be like with a true alpha wide receiver one. It would take another step forward. It just doesn't have anyone other than Stephon Diggs who they can rely on at wide receiver. Now, Maye faces the Saints and the Titans in the next 2 weeks. To me, I saw what I needed to see in Maye's win over the Bills. He got touchdown unlucky in that game. He didn't score. Ramondre Stevenson scored 2 rushing touchdowns. Remember, and again, I talk about this Patreon all the time, touchdowns are random, very random. Maye is going to show you over the next 2 weeks that he's elite. It'll be too late to acquire him at a reasonable price. And he's just 23 years old, very young. And there's a lot of future value with Drake Maye, which I like, in addition to current value. He's playable now and he has future value. What's not to like? Now, I will say there's been many trades for Drake Maye that I've seen in the Patreon Discord. And then there are also some from the Dynasty Daddy trade database. So let's look at those and I'll provide some context. So Drake Maye for 226 firsts and a 12-team Superflex. We're at that stage. I did an article in the Patreon about quarterback value. I did one about running back value, talking about pick values. I think we're at the stage with Drake Maye where he's worth over 226 firsts. I like to see it. 26 first, 26 second, and Bryce Young. I would easily pay that for Drake Maye. I talked about Bryce Young in the Patreon and how I'm done with him. I had a long, detailed argument about that. And I would easily take Drake Maye here. And then Drake Maye for Daniel Jones and 26 first. Again, these are not cheap. No one's saying these prices are cheap, but I do think these are not what Drake Maye is worth. I think Drake Maye is worth more than these prices because I'm all in on him as an elite asset in Superflex, and elite quarterback assets in Superflex are what you want to build around. And Drake Maye is 100% in that group. Now, my next player is Tetairoa McMillan. And I know I've discussed him a lot as a dynasty buy. If you were a patron, you would have drafted Tetairoa McMillan in the rookie season. I had him over Travis Hunter. I was a big fan of Tetairoa McMillan. Then all summer, I talked about Tetairoa McMillan. He's an alpha. He is looking really good in camp. He is going to produce immediately after week 1 when he had a lot of targets. I talked about buying Tetairoa McMillan. You would have bought him then, but you have been gifted a magical opportunity because he hasn't scored a touchdown. And people are frustrated because they think, oh, well, he's not doing so well. Look at Emeka Egbuka. He has all these touchdowns. Let's look at what Tetairoa McMillan has actually done. In 5 games, 24 catches, 351 yards, 43 targets, 4.8 catches, and 70.2 yards a game. 43 targets. Think about how many that is. That's over 8 per game, 8.6 per game. 4.8 catches and 70.2 yards a game. These would be great numbers for his whole rookie year. This is the first 5 games. Usually, rookies get better as they go in the second half of the year. But as I said, the key thing is no touchdowns. So because of that, he's not actually making a difference for you in your fantasy lineup at this time. 11.8 PPR points a game, 32nd among wide receivers. That is not league winning. That's not exciting. But we know that touchdowns are mostly random. So why do I have him as a dynasty buy? Again, there are so many reasons. He's averaging 8.6 targets a game. Now, that is really good, right? You want to average targets, but something I talk about in the Patreon is earning targets is a skill. I do talk about that. That is a major skill and something we have to look at. But there's more than that. It's not just earning targets. Otherwise, Wan'Dale Robinson would have been a top 20 dynasty wide receiver. You have to earn the targets down the field. That is a part of it. And McMillan delivers in that area. 490 air yards and 40.1 air yards share. These are valuable targets. He's not just earning targets. He's earning valuable targets down the field. That is what we want to see. Again, he's not getting the hype because he hasn't scored touchdowns, and fantasy points, especially for wide receivers, even more than quarterbacks, are completely dependent on touchdowns. You get 6 points for a touchdown. That in PPR, that's equal to 50 yards and a catch, or 2 catches for 40 yards is a touchdown. It's just not, commensurate to what we can predict, but we know touchdowns are random and it's going to come through. Now, if there is any week where a blow-up game is coming, it is this week. The Cowboys are on tap for Tetairoa McMillan and the Panthers. And we saw the Giants game against the Cowboys. Mysteriously, the Giants offense, which couldn't do anything, suddenly had a total explosion in that game. We saw the Packers game against the Cowboys. How many points were scored in that game? If there is any week where Tetairoa McMillan will turn this 8.6 targets a game into deliverable fantasy points, it is this week. It will happen this week. Now, I still think McMillan is not treated as the young budding alpha that he is because other players are getting more attention. Now, here are some deals that I saw. Ricky Pearsall in 2 seconds. That is obscene. I like Ricky Pearsall. He's fine. He's done well in the opportunities he's had, but it's very limited sample size. We've also seen a lot of Ricky Pearsall not doing much or being injured. In the only 5 games we've seen from McMillan, he's been a target hawk. So I'd much rather have McMillan. George Pickens and J.K. Dobbins. I mean, they've pleasantly surprised me, but I'd much rather have McMillan. That's not close. And then the last one, maybe this could happen. I mean, some people, I'm always famous for talking about in the Patreon, value wide receivers, build your dynasty team around wide receivers. Not everyone believes that. There are some creators on YouTube, maybe not so good ones, that always recommend buying running backs. They say, build around running back. Not very smart, but maybe someone is saying to do something like this. I don't know. Just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean they wouldn't. It's in the Dynasty Daddy trade database, so it did really happen. I would easily take Tetairoa McMillan over Breece Hall in Dynasty. It's not close. And I would explore maybe using running backs to buy Tetairoa McMillan because he's a cornerstone asset, and I'm happy to have him on any Dynasty team. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you sign up for the Patreon, which you've heard me talk about a lot during the video already. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT50. You can click the link in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice. Use that code at checkout for 50% off your first month. You can get all my rankings, including the weekly start sit rankings, access to the Discord, my write-ups where I talk about every game, so you'll get my take on everything that happens throughout the NFL season, and then other write-ups where I talk about buys, sells. I do team write-ups in the off-season. I talk about everything. So that's one of my big ads on the Patreon. Patreon-only videos, direct message fantasy advice, which is exactly what it sounds like. I work with you about your team in direct messages over time to help you build a great team. And the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos, which you'll see at the end of every video, including this one. Now, here's begin at just $6 a month, $3 with discount. And again, I offer that discount because I believe in the product and I want to encourage people to try it. If you try it, isn't for you, fair enough. You tried it. That's all I'm asking, is to give it a try. And I hope that more people do that. I really appreciate that. Now, if you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my why you should join the Patreon videos on the channel. They're on the homepage under Patreon promos. Probably going to do another one in the near future here to describe kind of what's going on the Patreon right now. Now, like I said, I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using code TylerYT50. Click on the link in the top right corner. Patreon.com/fantasy advice is the link. And type that code in and check out to get 50% off your first month. A lot of people signed up after the last video I did. I really, really appreciate that. I'd love to keep that momentum going by seeing more people sign up today. And like I said, and I'll finish with this for this segment, the YouTube videos, I like doing them. They're going to continue in their current form, not longer, not more videos. There's not going to be anything else. I'm open to doing additional content, more content. That's all going to be on the Patreon. I am doing more. I'm delivering more write-ups, more Patreon-only videos, more stuff in the Patreon Discord. So if you like what I'm doing, this YouTube channel is a very good taste of what I'm offering. But the main, primary, most of the content is on the Patreon. And I'd love to see you sign up. With that said, I'll move into my next Dynasty buy. Now, my next Dynasty buy is Brock Bowers, who's currently injured. I don't usually talk much about injured players, but Bowers is not out for the year. He's not even on IR. I think this is a buying window we may never have again for a player like Brock Bowers. Now, Bowers hasn't even been that bad this year. In 4 games, 19 catches, 225 yards, 27 targets, 4.8 catches, and 56.3 yards a game. But if you had Bowers, it feels worse than this. He suffered that PCL injury in week 1, and it just hasn't been the same. And I think that's why he's a buy. Dynasty managers are mad. They're mad. Bowers committed the cardinal sin, the T. Higgins or the Jalen Waddle or other players who've done this. The cardinal sin of, instead of just sitting out, he played while not healthy. If someone misses games, you say, oh, well, they missed games. It is what it is. If they play or not healthy and then underperform, dynasty managers just can't get it out of their head. It's something that you can take advantage of. Oh, no, he hurt me. Oh, I have to lower his value. I talk about this in the Patreon too. This is something you can exploit about your league mates. Most people, there's no barrier to entry to play Dynasty. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be smart to play Dynasty. No one's saying that. So they'll say that Brock Bowers is worth less now. And that's a huge mistake that they're going to make. That's going to cost them dearly in the long run. Now, even in this so-called bad performance, he had 4.7 catches, 6.3 targets, and 40.7 yards a game. Now, he didn't score. That's why it feels even worse. This is not terrible. I mean, for a tight end, this is not awful volume at all. He didn't score, which hurt him. The catches are not awful. 4.7 catches a game for a tight end is actually pretty good. 6.3 targets, a little low. What's not happening is the yards, the explosiveness. And Bowers himself said that. I don't feel like I can do that at the level that I'm used to. He is hurt. It's not deep. He's hurt. He's playing through an injury. He should not have played through that injury. And I don't think anything has changed with Brock Bowers. He had 5 catches for 5 catches for 103 yards in week 1. He was great in week 1. There was nothing wrong with him. He looked great. He looked elite. Last year, he was elite. 112 catches, 1,194 yards, 5 touchdowns, 153 targets, 6.6 catches, and 70.2 yards a game. That's a really strong rookie season for a wide receiver, let alone a tight end. 153 targets is an insane number. It's not like he got there in a couple of big plays. He earned 153 targets. That's more than George Kittle's career high. And he did it as a rookie. This is an elite player. I have no doubt. So, because he's an elite player and I like, what I saw and he's still very young, I'd be very open to buying Brock Bowers. Now, the first trade I saw, Tyler Warren and Ja'Cory Maye. Now, I like what I've seen from Tyler Warren too. But what I don't see from Tyler Warren, and we're not going to see, I don't think, from Tyler Warren, is earning 8-9 targets a game. I'm not seeing that. I don't think Tyler Warren is going to deliver that on a consistent basis. And Ja'Cory Maye, I like, but he doesn't bridge the gap in tight end premium between the two. Now, the next, Brock Bowers and Alvin Kamara for Jake Ferguson and James Cook. I don't really care much about Alvin Kamara. Jake Ferguson is a strong sell for me. We see this all the time. I'm not saying Jake Ferguson is Cade Otton because he's better than that, but Jake Ferguson is mysteriously, suddenly producing at a massive level when CeeDee Lamb is out. That's not going to last when CeeDee Lamb comes back. We know when wide receivers get hurt, targets go to tight ends that maybe aren't elite but are good enough. That's where the targets usually go. So I'm not buying it with Jake Ferguson as an elite asset. I think he's good, but he doesn't compare to Brock Bowers. He's never had an 153 target season or anywhere near it. And then the last, Mark Andrews, 26 third and 27 first. This is ridiculous. Brock Bowers is worth a lot more than this. So I would easily take Bowers here, and it's not close. So there's a buying window on Brock Bowers. I would definitely take it because getting elite assets at non-elite prices is very difficult. And this is an opportunity to do so. So I don't have too many questions today, but I'll wrap up the ones that I have and then we'll wrap up the show. So I thought this was actually very interesting. Is there a best time during the week to trade, before or after waivers, before or after the Thursday game? To be honest, I think the whole week is a good time to trade. I will say sometimes I don't want to send trades on waiver day because I don't want to encourage people to check their waivers. I know that sounds stupid, but sometimes if you don't send them trades, they won't check the league and they won't bid against me. So I guess that can be a small factor. I do find that I end up doing a lot of trades on Wednesday after waivers run, maybe on Thursday before the Thursday game if I want to trade someone in that game. And then on Friday and Saturday, if I'm not trading players from the Thursday game. So I guess I'm always active. But yeah, that one little thing about not wanting to sometimes send offers on Tuesday because I don't want people to check waivers is something that came up in the Patreon recently. And I thought was kind of funny, but also kind of true, low key. All right. Thanks for your help, Tyler. Joined a little late this offseason, and your guidance took my team that was second to last in max points last year to first place now. I appreciate that. Also, you continuously stop me from tinkering too much and making any bad moves. Wish I'd joined earlier to take more advantage. I do hear this a lot. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but I do hear it a lot. I hear a lot of, well, how did I ever live without this? I don't know what I did before this. I wish I joined earlier, stuff like that. So I do really appreciate that. I also want to point out this specific comment. That is a lot of what I do. I don't want to say that I'm magical. At the end of the day, I cannot force your league mates to trade with you. I can't force it. Sometimes it's not going to work out. What I can stop you from doing is hurting your team. That I can stop you from doing. I can just say, don't do that. And I can prevent those moves from happening. That I can do 100% of the time. So at the very least, you won't make bad trades when you're on the Patreon. That's something I can stop. I always say I need that like shock buzzer. Anytime someone is like, I want to trade a first round pick for running back. I need that like buzzer that I can press that like sends a mild electric shock. Maybe not so mild if you ask me all the time. I don't know, but I wish I had that. But, I think just strongly saying that I don't believe in that is usually good enough. With that said, I do really appreciate this comment because this is a lot of what I feel I do deliver. Oh, this is interesting. What is the record of your best current dynasty team and how many 26 draft picks does it have? I need a goal. I do have a team that's 5-0 with 5 26 firsts, if that's a goal. I don't know. I'm happy with that team. It's the defending champion. It's a creator league too, or mostly creators. So yeah, I guess I'm happy with that. I don't know. There's your goal. I never believed in paying creators for Patreon because what could they possibly offer me that I feel the need to pay monthly for? I now pay for Tyler in direct message cheers, and I'm the one that feels like I'm getting a steal. He works hard every single day and answers every question I have, regardless of how dumb or stupid it is. Well, I appreciate that. I don't think there are a lot of stupid questions. I don't find that people ask me stupid questions very often. Um, and it's okay. It's all a learning experience anyway. But I do find that this is a lot of what I see. People didn't think it could be worth it or didn't think it, could provide value, but I do provide value. And it's something that is a lot of fun. At the end of the day, I consider myself about 50-50 in terms of like providing value. Yes, that is a goal. But I'm also providing entertainment, providing something fun, like providing a fun environment, something to talk about, fun things to discuss. I mean, discussing Dynasty is fun, right? I mean, this is a hobby. So I do try to balance those things in terms of, yes, providing fantasy value, providing actionable advice. That is very important. But I also don't want to be boring and I don't want to just, be a snooze fest because it doesn't matter how valuable my content is. If it's not interesting, nobody's going to pay for it. So I'm providing both. And I really appreciate that that's kind of shining through here. And, before I close out the video, I do want to thank all of the patrons who are leaving these reviews. I'm using YouTube time to read them because people are taking the time to write them. So I do appreciate that. And I just want to thank all of the patrons, both for being patrons and for taking the time to write those up. Now, with that said, if you liked the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing. And don't forget to hit that new hype button to help the videos in the algorithm. Plus, hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting contents and drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty fantasy football content year-round and start sit content in season. 50% discount at all tiers using the code TylerYT50. And you can sign up in the link top right corner, patreon.com/fantasyadvice. Every sign up helps support my independent content. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all